Hi guys, this is DJ Latino with another podcast. Who are you and what do you do?
So first and foremost, Fidel, thank you for having me. To those that don't know, Fidel and I have been friends for over at least 20 years. At least 20 years.
Don't say it, bro. Don't say it.
I have to admit, we got to see each other in some good times and some struggling times, But I think that's what really tests our friendship. To this day, I feel like I just met up with them a week ago. But to start it off, my name is Jonathan Tinoco. And who am I? I mean, that's a broad question. I like to think of myself somebody who stayed authentic. I like to say as somebody who stayed as a friend. But in all actuality, I'm an elected official. I have the privilege of being a school board director for the Venice School District. And, other things I like to dabble in is the arts and also cultural, purposes, just like bringing in our people together, knowing that our cultural values is what brings us that joy of what we can do things to jazz things up.
You said school director, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So back in November 21st, 2020, I was watching the school board meeting. And when, during the pandemic, you start figuring out, well, I gotta do something. I can't just be on my phone all day. And that day, there was gonna be a vote on the winter sports. Now, the gist of it was that the rest of the county, Berks County, their schools were participating in the winter sports. Now, the Venice School District was not. Now, me coming from the Venice School District, knowing that sports a lot of times is a channel for us to have that outlet of seeing the world or just feeling like, we have more opportunities. So when the board at the time voted no, to me that was my why. Because I knew, for example, what could have been devastating for them. And, well, I have experience in political work, from field work to field organizer to also knocking on doors. So on all levels, I knew I was able to be capable of it. Now, what I did not expect was campaigning in the pandemic. And though it was very difficult, it was not impossible. And I have to admit, it was worth it.
Did you learn anything from campaigning, or you had already nailed down?
Yeah, so I definitely had the privilege of working on different campaigns from State Representative Manny, thank you for the opportunity, to Congresswoman Kristen Houlihan back in 2018, and then for the Biden campaign in 2020. So on all those experiences, I was able to level up, learn a little bit more. So one was knocking on doors. And knocking on doors is being from the community. So it's knocking on doors, having a conversation with somebody, but it's also knowing too not to treat that voter just like a voter, but you want to make them feel as a treasured voter, as if their vote is the one that's going to make the change. Moving forward, as I moved up into the levels, from Congress and even to presidential campaigns, I got to see how big of a campaign politics is, and through the digital age, I've been able to even learn from that, but also apply my skills. So me coming from a background of Redding, literally, you're dealing with all types of people. So when you're on the real field, it's it's go time. And I think that's what made me very successful, but also my authenticity among how I put effort into the work. I don't think that any of my results of success was just by accident.
Okay. You said you bring authenticity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before I get to that,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of skills do you bring to the campaign or political? Can I say political?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of skills do you bring there?
I think one is thinking outside the box, knowing that what were traditional practices has to be given up. We have to be thinking modern times, modern problems, modern solutions. And well, I'm a lefty, so I tend to always think a little differently. I tend to see things a little differently. So knowing that I was working with folks who were in the game for so many years, but yet the results is what we had to improve. So me being who I am as a team player, but also a person of ideas, they allowed me to take leadership on that. And from 2016 to 18 to 2020, every campaign that I worked, there was always an improvement of outreach, or so to say, the voter engagement. And honestly, it just goes with interpersonal skills.
Okay.
Being able to talk to people for who they are. Not being able to look at them as a number or a statistic, but as the person who they are. And I think a lot of times we have, what's the word I'm looking for? Been disconnected from that. We feel as if, he's a Mexican, I know all Mexicans. No, absolutely not. There's different Mexicans. You have those who were born in Mexico and then were raised in the United States. You have those who were in the United States but never got to meet Mexico. But it's also knowing too. Every person you meet, it's a new person, and through my experience of my restaurants, I've learned to cater to just anybody because at the end of the day, it's like you come here hungry. I gotta make sure you leave happy.
And those are the worst customers. I work at and those like hungry people, hungry customers.
It's
are
not
the
about
worst,
what you're
bro.
hungry,
They're hangry. And I get it. I get sometimes like that, man. Like my wife always tells me, yo, you getting hangry. Like, yeah, well, I'm hungry. What the hell? Bro, so, all right, so obviously you're Mexican and Cuban, right?
Yes.
As if I'm getting that. What are those some obstacles that you have faced and overcome just by being that?
That's a great question. First, I think I will have to go with identity. Like, what am I? Who am I? So that was first. Identity. Another one was placement. Being raised in Red and Fidel. You can second on this. Being Mexican, or even like just not being Puerto Rican in the 90s and Redding was like, you're not it. You're not part of it. So
Yeah.
for us, it was very difficult to like find placement, to find a community, to find those who can resonate with our culture, with our traditions. So for me, it was third grade, 10th and Penn. That was the first time I was locked in with fellow Mexicans. Isaac Villaseñor and Alex Lopez were two of my homies that really made me feel like, what, we got this. It's not many of us, but just us three here, we can be part of something. From a Cuban identity, it was always at home. My mother was very hard on that. She made sure that we knew the dialect, we knew the history, but also the feeling of what it was to be Cuban. So a little funny story was, Cuba and Puerto Rico, they have a very similar flag, right? So one day my buddy comes over and he's like, yo, how come your Puerto Rican flag looks funny? I'm like, nah, bro, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, that flag looks different. I'm like, it's a Cuba flag. So it was in that moment that I'm like, wow, like even at fourth grade, I think I was in, I still had to defend my cultural background.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, you know what, I'm not gonna fold to what others want me to be. I'm not gonna be what others want me to be, but it's also knowing too, I have something unique. And believe it or not, when I was a young kid, my father once told me that I'll be able to bring in two worlds. And yo como mocosa, I didn't really know the context behind that, but I'm seeing it now. I'm now seeing that I'm able to bring a community together that was once divided. And I feel very privileged because I have always kept those words to myself, because for some reason my father seen it in me. And wherever you are, I hope you understand that I'm trying my best to bring up everything that we talked about. And is it hard? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But it's not impossible. But now I want to also broadcast to others, like, it's okay to have two cultures, three cultures, biracial. It's okay, because at the end of the day, as long as you get those strengths, apply that, and you'll be able to see that you will make a difference. And I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah,
And it just
definitely. You're a well-spoken person, bro. Art. So what do you mean art? I remember you used to draw, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get into that more. Is that more of your authenticity? Or?
Yes, definitely. It was definitely a way for me to express myself. So, going back to elementary school again, with the homies, Alex and Isaac, around that time, all three of us were introduced to Blood and Blood Out.
Oh,
so you already know, we were locked in, the third graders, and we were talking about the locals and everything. So around that time, it was like an inspiration to like keep up with the culture, and even though Blood and Blood Out was a movie, it was more like a testament to, of the culture, of the lifestyle, of the homies, and moving forward, I always I was gravitated towards lettering. I think lettering was and still is something very profound. And as I got into middle school, I told myself to take more time to focus on it. So in 7th grade, my homie Jeremy, rest in peace, man, you missed every day, your anniversary's coming up, and never are you ever forgotten. He was like, yo, what's that? And I was like, yo, bro, it's graffiti. He was like, what the fuck is graffiti? I was like, yo, pay attention, pelao. So I did the whole alphabet the next day. This guy showed up with his own style. So then I'm like, damn, bro, like, this is deep, like, I'm not the only one that feels this. 8th grade came around, and around 8th grade, I caught my first suspension. So I was watching 187 with Samuel Jackson. It's like a teacher in the Los Angeles environment.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trying to be a good example to the cholos, right?
Yeah.
So, around that time, I started seeing that style. I said, what, let me start tagging up to school. Man, big mistake, man. The same thing I was tagging in the bathrooms is the same thing I had in my notebook. So it didn't take much for the teacher to connect two dots.
Yeah, like,
Next thing you know, I got a 10-day suspension, man. I feel like I was doing like 30 days in the pen, man. But I learned my lesson. You keep certain things separately. And when I got up to high school, well, we had a graffiti crew. We had a solid graffiti crew, and we all had our different styles. We had our own colors, our own ways of doing things, and that really was cool because that was our way of venting. So here we are, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, just trying to navigate through life, through a community that never really welcomed us, but at the same time, we had this gift of doing art, and whether society likes it or not, we feel as if it was like our God-given right, and we never put up anything that was like chicken scratch because we knew the homies would like roast us. So it was also knowing too, like those who had the skills had the privilege to be part of the crew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I wish I was part of that crew back then, bro.
Man, Fidel, man, we were out late, man.
Oh, there, I wasn't that type of friend. I wasn't that type of. My mom would never.
I would never forget one of our laws was the first night it snows, automatically we're going out tagging. And there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Why is that? Is that like a...
So first is like, it's that feeling, it's magical, that first feeling.
Yeah, there's nobody else there.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's the second one. So knowing that the next day when people wake up to a snow day, they get to see graffiti. That was our justification, you know what I mean?
I mean, there was a strategy because I remember when it was like the snow was falling, it was like the street was clean.
Yeah.
No
footprints.
Yeah.
So we thought about it because we knew when we get back home, we couldn't get our ass whooped.
All right, well, let me ask you, where do you get the inspiration with the graffiti? Where did you get that?
Philly. When I was a kid, I must have been a peewee. Man. 10, 9. I went with my father to Philly, and I will never forget the amount of graph I seen that was just like, not overwhelming, but like, wow. And just that feeling itself just created something within me to like, try it out, try it out. And around that time, there was two writers. One is Sepra. Wherever you are, homie, man, just know that you did the right thing. And the other one was Check. And they both had their own style, but they weren't like battling each other. Mm-hmm. So it was cool seeing it as a kid, like, I could be part of it. But from Philly for sure. So even till this day when I go to Philly, that feeling never goes away. I think it's a beautiful thing that reminds me that I'm cynical, but also, what's the word I'm looking for? Sane.
What about soccer, bro? How did that help you a lot?
Yeah, so soccer was something that I didn't really have a choice, it was just like, part of the family. And I had the privilege of my father being a coach when I was in the YMCA. And when that happened, it was just such a different responsibility, because soccer showed me, first discipline, but also teamwork. Mm-hmm. If you really are the best on the field, you're not going to be the one showing out every time. You want to be sure that your players, your goalkeeper, are better than you are. And I've learned so much in soccer, knowing that before you make it to the goal, you got to see the goal. Mm. So it's also knowing too, like you got to feel that. And in life, I grew up playing soccer. I met some wonderful people. I think we went through soccer.
Yeah.
Your brother Raji and...
Well, Gail, I remember Gail used to bring you out. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
You remember we had the La Azteca up in Verde High?
Oh, that's what we used to call it.
So guys, for some context, up in Verde High, where the track and field is at currently, I believe, on Saturday mornings, we used to go up there and, we used to call this like a Estadio Azteca. And to those who don't know Estadio Azteca, that's like one of the largest stadiums in the world. But as kids, we were like, that's the place.
Yeah, I remember that. But I didn't know they call it Azteca. I was like, it's going to be high school. But after that, we used to play football too. Remember that shit?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You remember when China got his hand broken?
No, I didn't. I wasn't there. I think my brother was there.
That was so funny, man. I mean, in the good China, I know you're doing much better now, so we can laugh. But I will never forget his brother, man. Lencho was like, yo, don't be a pussy. My man just got his hand broken.
Yo, shout out Lencho, bro.
Yo, straight up, man. Love you guys.
That was one thing that helped me. Like, you think that helped you?
100%. Even moments of like when the play's so beautiful, and all you gotta do is just tap it in order for the next person to continue doing it. Even that was like something like worth feeling like, what, that was good.
That you're part of something.
Yeah.
You're a part of that play.
But it's also knowing too that small measurement of help still goes for the principle of it, which is making a goal.
think you carrying that into like politicals?
100%.
Especially that as like I think political, you just can't do it just one person. There's a bunch, it's a group,
Right.
And people
Right.
and you said you brought ideas, right?
Yes.
What kind of ideas did you bring to that?
Well, first and foremost, if you want the Latino vote, get some Latinos part of it, But also knowing too what kind of Latinos you're getting. Don't get the Latinos who are just Latinos on the weekend. Don't get the Latinos who are just Latinos for Cinco de Mayo. Like get those Latinos who live it, breathe it, see it every day. And I'm very adamant it. Yes.
And you're one of you. You're one of those, bro. You're
you.
100% Latino. Every time I see you, either you're with a soccer ball or you're representing any soccer type, or you're out there supporting the community.
And that's one thing, is being able to stay authentic. At the end of the day, the opportunities that I have today can be gone in a week. But it's also knowing too, those who I have been able to enjoy life with, they're not going to treat me like that. This is just a perfect example. Fidel and I having a friendship for over 20 years, but us catching up like it's like just yesterday. That's what matters. What I'm doing out for the community, yes, it's a privilege, but it's also knowing too, there is a fine line of not sacrificing yourself towards something that's not going to be rewarding. In other words, don't sacrifice yourself for your authenticity. Always make sure you stay authentic, and if you don't embrace it or respect it, then that's not your space.
How can you break that authenticity? How can you break that or fail?
Yeah.
How can you do that? Or how? Do you understand the question?
Of course, yeah. I mean, to keep it simple, you have to just look at yourself in the mirror, And I think that's one of the hardest things that we face nowadays is to look at yourself in the mirror, face yourself, and look at yourself in the eye. You really have to have a candid conversation. Like, oh, who am I? What am I about? And what is it that within me I'm gonna make the most out of? A lot of times, I think we lack drive or inspiration. Motivation, it's a motor of itself. Motivation is already within you. All you got to do is crank that motor up. But it's also knowing too, like, what are you doing with that? And for me, it's every, it's every day I have this conversation with myself, because am I hard on myself? Absolutely. But it's also knowing too, the opportunities that are given to me are not given to everybody else. So also have to keep in mind, like, yo, I can't fuck this shit up. Like, fucking up is not an option. Failing is not an option. It's being able to know this is what I want. I got it. And now, being able to pass it. And those kind of conversations are very real, staying authentic to yourself. Like, if something don't feel right, you know yourself, you know yourself. If somebody tries to like degrade you or dismiss you or not give you that respect, like you'll feel it, you'll feel it. And it's also knowing too, like if you feel it once, you have to check yourself. Are you willing to allow that to happen, or you are willing to have that person understand who you are? And if they call you a boy and you're a man, you better check them, because if not, they're going to continue calling you boy, and that's on yourself. Staying authentic is a definition that can be loosely used, whether it's at home, in the streets, at work. It's just knowing to keep those morals, those values. You got to stay true to yourself. You got to stay true to your people. A lot of times I see people in spaces and they have been disconnected from their own community. And it's very upsetting, because it's like, wow, like your community has been there for you since day one, and yet for a salary or for a promotion, it's like they don't matter no more. And hey, you gotta stay authentic to yourself,
Johnny, how important is family?
Very, very, very. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
In your own words, what is the definition of success?
My definition of success, it's not materialistic. It's not even a common check. It's just feeling worthy enough that what you're doing is fulfilling enough of what you feel is your purpose. That you wake up and you feel that drive to go out and do what you got to do. That when you get back home and your head's heavy, you know what you had to do to get done. I won't define success by a car or by a house or by the clothing that you wear, but yet, how you do work and how you feel about it. I feel as if I reached success 10 years ago, but I was blind to it. I was so driven to see the superficial side of success that when I got that, I'm like, yo, this isn't it. This isn't it. If I'm not with my people celebrating my fruits of labor, this isn't success. And to me, as family, I want to be able to share my fruits of labor with my family, with my friends. Still be able to give without feeling like I'm like losing anything.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean.
Yeah, but to each their own, because success does come with stress, and that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, and there's times that, you know, I get home from a meeting and I voted on something that, you know, was like tiptoe against my ethics. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, did I do the right decision? Damn, like, do I? Do I feel good about that? And those are thoughts that, you know, nobody knows that I'm fighting with. You know what I mean? Like, those are, you know, I'm strong on ethics. So it's also known too in the political world, it's not always going to be always grade A. You have to understand that there's times you have to compromise your ethics. And it sucks to say it because, like, you know, that might be something tainted against your authenticity. You know, so it's like, it's a very fine line of like, damn if I do, damn if I don't.
But if you're sacrificing your authenticity for something greater, would that be it?
And that's it right there. You know, when I'm laying down at night, I'm just, you know what? I did the best I could. I did the best I could. And sometimes, honestly, you're given shitty options.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean that frankly in the best way of saying it because, you know, politics is not clean, it's dirty. You know, it's not for the lighthearted. It's not for those who have aspirations to be super person. Nah, this will like eat you up and shit you out.
Would you consider that tougher than the streets?
Hell yeah.
Political.
Because at least in the streets, if I see you, you know, I can check you. In the
Yeah.
politics, if I see you, I gotta ask you for your email, and then I gotta send you an email.
Yeah. Oh, damn, that type shit.
You know,
yeah.
if I grip you up, all of a sudden now.
You're the animal.
Yeah.
As a Latino, how are you helping the community here in Redden? Besides, you know, political.
I think first and foremost by example. You know, I think aspiration goes deep with an example. So letting people know, like, yo, like, youngest of 5, from a broken family, poverty, from the Redden School District, graduated, worked in the mushrooms, worked in restaurants. How? Because knowing that where we come from, many don't make it with those opportunities. So knowing that, nah, dogs, I know what that feels like. I know what it is to walk that hill. I know what it is to walk at night. I know what it is to walk through a group of people. I know what it is to wake up and be like, man, what the fuck am I doing here? You know, but it's also knowing too, I am a testament of many others around here. So when they feel as if they can't get past, no, you can get past. I will have to say my example, you know, and as well as just being able to like be a testament of my of the first generation American, you know, and knowing that we have this view of like, yo, we can't fuck up. You know, we can't just like, whatever, let me go on welfare. Welfare is a vocabulary that doesn't exist in my mindset, you know. Section 8 is another vocabulary that doesn't exist. I know it's there, but I don't depend on that.
It should be just a temporary help.
100%.
Temporary help.
Yeah, and for all you, and let me not even get into it. Let's stick to the path.
Yeah, bro. How do you feel about when you hear people be like, man, I want to get out of Redden, or I want to leave Redden, or man, F Redden. But they still here, like 10 years after.
You know, those are the other naysayers. You know, those are the ones that you have to stay away from. You know, because it's true. Some arrived to Redden and never left. Some have called Redden a black hole. You name it. But it's also known too. Those are the ones you gotta stay away from. You know, I choose to be a Redden because I want to. Have I gotten the opportunity to leave Redden? Absolutely. But it's also known too, timing. And to those, you know, that want to leave Redden, just think about it. You know, Redden is a very unique city. It's one of the founding cities of the United States of America. We have so much rich history, but also knowing now that the history that's being created now is something unheard of, unseen, but it's only get better. But, you know, to all those, you know, that see another place as their home, I would say pursue it. You know, I don't think anybody should live anywhere that they don't feel prideful or even good about. And I think that's just life itself. You know, if there's something wrong, fix that.
So I have you on Facebook, you know, and I see your posts, like, and I have some written down here.
Yeah, bro, word.
I want you to read them and be like, yo, explain to me, like, what does that mean, like, right there?
Yeah. I wrote this shit?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's in your face, maybe if I...
Yeah. So this was actually last week. I visited my childhood block yesterday, sat on the sidewalk, stared at the moon. I probably looked dazed to some of the neighbors, but I felt a calling to be there. My why grew stronger, my mind clearer, and that moment I let something go. A fear, a trauma, a burden, but I let it go. I hope others find this kind of peace in their own healing journeys. Yeah, I'm glad you peeped that, man. So this was last week, and I'm a huge fanatic of the moon. You know, as a child, the moon and I always had this relationship, and I felt as if I could always vent to the moon. I felt like I could always share my dreams to the moon. So this day specifically, I was leaving Southern Middle School, which they were doing a community event, and you know, Southern Middle School is a school I went to, and when I left, I said, you know what, let me go up to my childhood block. It's not that far from here. Sketchy area. There's no doubt about that. To all those that want to know, it's 10th and Cherry.
Hey, oh, damn.
Right. So, you know, it's a sketchy area, but it's also known too, like I come from there, so I'm not going to be scared or intimidated. And on that block, I will never forget how when I was a kid, we used to have so much activities. You know, we didn't even know we were poor. We didn't even know what it was to be on the cusp of like poverty. Mm-hmm. We didn't know that. Like we had a roof over our shoulder, over our head. We had clothing, which was clean. Not much clothing, but it was clean. We had plenty of friends on the block, and we had like, you know, people who like cared, you know, about families and community and about the kids. So when I went back, you know, it was just that feeling like, man, like what I would do to see the babysitter again. And I might get a little emotional on this, but like it's also knowing too, like that child and that time was just enjoying the childhood, not thinking about the politics, not thinking about the health issues, not thinking about what could happen around the block, not even thinking about the crime statistics, you know, and knowing that around that time in the mid-90s, I was raised around the roughest neighborhoods in the city. So I think to myself now, like, man, like I could have been another statistic, you know. But it was also knowing too, around that same time is when I was being more mindful of friendships. So I had like Mexican friends, black friends, white friends, Asian friends, all kinds of friends, because in that little neighborhood, we were like a little, what do you call that? A little melting pot, you know? But the thing is that we all came from family.
Okay.
So everybody introduced everybody to their own family, whether it was like their grandmother, their brother, their mother. There was a sense of placement, you know? And I miss that. You know, I miss that because nowadays I'm a grown ass man. I'm 35, and I don't have that feeling no more. I don't have, you know, I don't have that, you know, where I live at. And it's not even like, you know, that I'm craving that. But I didn't know how good I had it as a kid. Mm-hmm. And that mind clearer was the vision. You know, the vision, like, yo, don't forget what you started. Stay focused. You know, the bitches, the drugs, the beers, always gonna be there. The opportunities and how you execute it would not always be there, especially how time is a factor that we have to keep in mind, you know? So that was something that was very, like, divine. And when I got up and I felt light, man, like this burden was like this fucking, like, you know when a boxer takes off his robe? And sometimes that robe holds on to something?
Yeah.
Like the nerves. I just felt more confident, you know, to come back to something that meant so meaningful to me and to be able to survive that. But not only survive it, but survive it in good faith and good heart. You know what I mean? Like I can still crack a joke, man. I can still like eat a fucking slice of pizza in 3 bites. You know what I mean? But knowing that I was able to mature out of that. And, you know, for me, it was a very heartfelt situation because even that status, Fidel, I wasn't going to share it, man. I was just going to write that in my journal. But something told me, you know, share this shit with the world, man, because I think we all have a childhood block we can go back to.
And then we're going to share it to the world, bro.
You know, and I feel as if sometimes we forget that child inside of us. You know, and that little motherfucker, at least for me, you know, he's a tough motherfucker, you know. He's always telling me, yo, echale chingazos, man, don't give up. Who cares if they don't like you? You're qualified, you know. Remember what you've been through. And yeah, I hope everybody takes time to visit the childhood home and or the block, and you know, to take time to visit that inner child too.
What is your why?
My why is not to go back where I came from, and that's that kid again. You know, going to sleep with gunshots, waking up and seeing cars with broken windows or fiends. walking around, grown-ass men riding bikes when they should be kids.
Hey.
And, you know, I'm not hating the
Yeah,
active
yeah.
lifestyle. It is what you got to do. But, you know, let the kids have their bikes too, you know?
Bro, there was this stand-up comedian I see in a clip. He was like, yo, you know how you in a bad neighborhood when all grown men are on bikes.
That's a fact.
And like,
That's
and
a
if
fact.
you're in the worst neighborhood is when a grown man is having another bike next to him. It's like, oh, bro, that's so true.
Growing up, I thought it was normal. You know, I thought that guy was taking his kid, that bike to his kid.
Either that guy got shot, arrested, and he took
Yeah.
his bike,
Yeah.
or he's stealing that bike.
Well, that's my why, you know, and being able to just help others through education, you know. A long time ago, Mr. Mazzo, one of the best teachers in the school district for Redden, told me education is the key to success. Education is the key to success, and the fuck does this guy know about fucking success? You're a fucking teacher, man. So I thought, right? Now I understand the quality of education, you know? Now I understand the importance of being a good teacher. Now I understand why every generation should have that Mr. Mazzo. You know, and Mr. Mazzo, if you ever get to hear this or see this, man, thank you for being an example of not being soft with us, but also being real with us.
That was your teacher?
Hell yeah, man. Hell of a damn good teacher, man.
I have one teacher too, Mr. Discipline. Discipline, yeah.
That's not.
Yeah, in Northwest. I think it's in Discipline. The Delaplane.
Okay, that sounds more like it, bro.
More Delaplane. Yeah, no, because I remember like he used to be so disciplined. I was like,
Yeah.
I call him Mr. Discipline.
Better than
Mr.
Mr.
Delaplane.
Better than Mr. D.
Yeah. Pause.
Oh, heavy.
Yeah, bro. I had that. That's my teacher, and he always like, you know, you always told me like discipline is what is gonna get you.
Yep.
Being that. What do you think about education here in Reading, in the Reading School District?
So, to be frank with it, you know, when you look at the statistics, you know, below 40% is proficient for reading and math. Studies have shown that the average person who's incarcerated has about a third, fourth reading level. Statistics have shown that those who are graduating from the Reading School District tend to have similar reading levels. You know, so it's also known too, you really have to pay attention. You know, don't expect a teacher to be doing everything for you. You really have to pay attention. You really have to be a self-learner. But it's also known too, it starts at home. You know, so knowing that if you allow yourself to just be educated by what they're showing you, you can only blame yourself. You know, you have to be that student, that advocate, that learner, that wants to learn more. That, you know, advanced classes does not intimidate them. And that's one thing I'm seeing as well, you know, in the Reading School District. When you look at the statistics, you know, it's like where the Latinos at. You know, the Latinos are the overwhelming population of the school district. And when we look at AP classes, we're not really there.
Oh shit.
You know, so when you think about that, what's really going on? You have the Anglos, respectfully, and the Asians who are there. And, you know, both demographics, you know, I'm not dismissing it, but, you know, it's also very telling too. It seems that maybe we're identifying intelligence by a race and not by the true essence of education. Now, when you cross the bridge, it's a whole different story, you know. Reading levels are up. Not that they're perfect, not that they're even, you know, any, what's the word I'm looking for? Closer to perfection, but there is a distinct difference, you know, And if you look at our elementary, you know, we have to really start focusing on teaching them how to read, but also teaching them how to read to others. I'm very passionate about that, and that's one thing I want to be able to also help others, you know, because sometimes we don't know how reading is so important until we're reading a job application. And that checkbox might not mean nothing to you, but once you check it off, Papa, that's it. There goes your rights.
Damn. Yeah, that
You're
is true.
tired?
That is true.
Get up and get to work. Oh, your house got on fire? Get up and get to work. Oh, you had a birth? Get up and get to work. It's very important to know how to read and comprehend.
And understand too.
So this one here says, not every seed will grow into a beautiful flower, but how will you know if you're not consistent and patient? So the context behind that is that we live in times of instant gratification, you know? So instead of like planting that flower, we'd rather just go to the flower shop and just buy it, right? But in essence, we have to keep in mind of what we're nurturing, what we're creating, what we're manifesting. You know, if we want something great, don't expect it to come over tonight. You know, it takes time. But it's also knowing too, like, what are you wanting? to make it great. Because just like a plant needs to be covered in good dirt, has to be watered. If you're like me, I talk to plants. I should say I talk to my plants. I don't want to think I don't want people to think I'm walking around just talking to their plants and shit. Man, fuck your plants. But in all genuine, it's just being able to take care of it. And the more you take care of it, the more you are able to appreciate it, and then you're able to see the beauty of it. And if it's not what you expected, you got to go back to planting again, which is maybe it was the seed that wasn't put right. Maybe it was the dirt.
Or maybe you need to water it more.
Maybe you need to water it more, with some alkaline water. Let that fucking tap water go,
And I like that analogy, and I use that as like business.
Very much.
Your business. When you get a business, you're not gonna get a tree out of one day and create a shadow.
100%.
Or you gotta wait, water it, and be there and be patient because it's not gonna your business is not gonna grow from one day to another. And I know that, I'm aware of that, and that's why we're here working.
And that's why I'm here. I'm happy to show support to Fidel, man. If there's one thing about Fidel, man, authentic, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. All right, I got one more last poll, and then all right.
This is a good one, man. This is a good one.
I'm ready, man. I'll be peeping your stuff.
I find beauty in the ordinary, like raindrops dancing on windows, sunlight kissing red bricks, walls, soft shadows shifting beneath trees, where light and shade meet in a space of calm and peace. A reminder that beauty lingers everywhere around us every day. So this right here, to me, is just open up your eyes. A lot of times we think beauty is I gotta be careful with this shit. This shit might come back in 10 years to haunt me. A lot of times we think beauty is something like out of a magazine, and it's not really that. Beauty is always around us. It's also how we introspect. How we feel about ourselves, how we see ourselves, and how we portray that. So it's knowing too, like, if you're looking for something negative, you're gonna find it. But also utilize that for the other power. If you're looking for something beautiful, powerful, you're also gonna find it. So it's knowing that don't wait for Saturday. Don't wait for Saturday to enjoy that sunset. Wake up and be patient for the sunset on that day. Don't wait till your birthday to put on your best outfit. No, wear that best outfit. And you might be the beauty of somebody's day. And just never expect that beauty has to be waited on. It's around us every day. And if you need a reminder, just look at yourself in the mirror. And if you don't like it, you can always fix that. And that sounds raw, but hey, that's that conversation being authentic.
Yo, let him cook. Bro, how do you feel so far?
I feel great.
Anything that you want to add on? I got another set of questions, but son no más rápidas. I'm going to do them in Spanish.
Yeah, of course.
Anything you want to add on before we move on?
Your life is short, man. Do what you got to do. People are going to judge you. People are going to talk about you. But remember, they're watching you. So if that means anything, that means you're doing something right. So whoever was watching this, but that we're doing something right.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so this is for my mom and for the people, Spanish-speaking people.
Bueno, órale.
So esto va a ser en español y mamá dice, tienes que hacerlo en español porque cuando cuando escucho inglés, la mamá le voy y le subo y le dice, por eso no le das like
pues
o no compartas. Okay, esas son preguntas rápidas.
Ándale.
It's just like whatever comes to your head or I think choice.
Órale, chido.
So va, Cristiano Messi.
Messi.
¿Qué es lo primero que haces cuando te despiertas?
Hago mis gracias a Dios.
¿Color favorito?
Rojo.
¿Género musical favorito?
Hijo de la chingada. Tiene que ser banda. Banda, pero banda de los tiempos antes.
Okay,
saludos a banda machos, los Tigres del Norte, mis corridos.
¿Canción favorita?
Al momento.
El momento ahorita, la que estaba escuchando en tu carro.
Hijo de la chingada. No, hombre. It was Dancing with the Devil por Technique. I know. Okay. Una canción cabrón.
¿Clima caliente o frío?
No, caliente.
¿Tequila o cerveza?
Tequila.
1 o 2 dedos.
2 de 2.
No.
Eso ocupa. Bring it up.
¿Casado o soltero?
Al momento soltero.
¿Pepsi o Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola.
¿Qué apodo le pondrías a un extraterrestre?
Ese güey.
Hey man, I got everything I need, bro. You want to shout out anybody? And then we close it out, and I want to ask you a question after you.
I mean, shout out to everybody that took time to listen to this, to watch this. Saludos a todos que podrían, un saludo a todos que podían compartir con nosotros ese tiempo. Algo muy especial para mí. Yeah, a little message. If you can do better, do better. If you can give back. But never forget that you were a kid once. So try to be an example for the kids. And if I find you being a bad example, I will check you because I'm not one to tolerate that.
A positive message for youth.
Dreams come true. I'm telling you because I'm one that has been able to accomplish my dreams. It's not easy. Write down your dreams. Don't tell many people about your dreams. Pray about your dreams and watch. They will come true. I beat the odds. I'm not one to really brag about myself, but I can really tell you that dreams come true. I'm only 35 years old, and I can tell you that the world has been a pearl to me. Yeah, and I hope it is to you too. But don't give up. Keep praying, and those hard times only make you better. If it was great, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So don't think it's meant for like just anybody. I'm fucking proud of you, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Man, I really enjoyed this shit, bro. Good shit, man. Un saludo, DJ Latino. Dude is authentic, bro. Music is good. Knows about the fucking music, but man, even on something like this, man, if you don't come to this shit, man, you're missing out, man. Give back, man. Give something of yourself too, but know that it's actually something worth having. Keep it up, bro. I'm very happy for you, man.
Yo, who do you want to nominate to be here next time? Help me like that. Help me like that.
Yo, Ochoa, Donnie.
Ooh, Donnie.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Ochoa, if you're watching this shit, I want you on this shit, bro. Este pinche vato, apart from being a madrista, este pinche vato es como uña y mugre, man. My three nominees will be Ochoa,
Okay.
Juano, my cousin.
Juana. Oh yeah.
Simon, and Isaac Villaseñor, my other homie.
Maybe I can have all three of them.
I got to introduce you, man. He has
Yeah.
a phenomenal story, man.
Okay.
Phenomenal fucking story, man. Another one that beat the odds, but another one too, man. Echándole ganas, you know. So Isaac, I'm very fucking proud of you. Ochoa, very fucking proud of you. Juan, I'm very fucking proud of you guys. Yeah, but for them, I really appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, I
man.
appreciate you, man, coming through.
If you ever need me to come back, you gotta let me know, man. I got stories for days, and
Well, either way, whenever you want to throw something like propaganda or promote something,
yeah, man.
my platform's open.
That's good, man. I appreciate you, brother.